Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Arcane episode 9. So we're finally here at the finale. What a great ride it's been. I don't need to tell you how much I've enjoyed this. You can tell from the other videos. You know, for most of these I'm recording 20-30 minutes at the end just for the discussion segment. So of course I'm enjoying every second of these. So it seems this episode is gonna have to be a Vi and Powder confrontation or a Vi and Jinx confrontation. Jinx has kidnapped Caitlyn. Obviously she is very jealous of Caitlyn, all the attention Caitlyn is getting from Vi, and now it seems she's gonna put this choice up to Vi. Who do you care about more, me or Caitlyn? That's basically going to be the scenario, right? So I'm expecting big emotional stakes, great action because it's the finale, of course. The action here has been great all along, and hopefully some closure on some of these other plot threads with Jayce, with Victor, with Mel, with Heimerdinger and Echo. What's going on there? You know, we're starting to see that Jayce and Vi, their paths are kind of interconnecting now. They're working together. Are we going to get any closure with Silco here? I don't know if there's like a second season planned or anything, but it does feel like there's a lot of things to wrap up. So I'm imagining not everything's going to get wrapped up because it's going into the second season, but it could also be that some of these things are left open because of the games. You know, this is getting the characters set up from where they were at the start of the series to where they are in the game, you know? So there might be some things that aren't necessarily tied up because of the games. So before we jump into this, be sure to check out the Patreon. Over there you can find full-length timer-based reactions where you just sync up your own footage. You can also find polls so you can vote for what's next, and you can find early access. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Okay, going back here, the emotional effect this is going to have on Jayce. This is just going to be devastating for him, yeah. It's the very people he wants to help he's killed.
He knew what he was signing up for.
No, he was just a child labor.
Do you not understand? I am part of this now.
You've always been a part of this. You just never had to look it in the eye.
Yeah, that is true. This one, it was directly a kill by him, but everything else has been consequence of him. Oh.
Make me.
God, the sound design on that is so good. Just building the tension. Yeah, I didn't think it was actually going to happen.
You won't make it alone.
If they both find out that Caitlyn's been kidnapped, maybe they'll have to work together reluctantly again.
You gotta do anything about that piece of shit that murdered my boy. Let me guess. Jinx will take care of it.
Oh, okay, so yeah, they want revenge on Jayce, of course.
At least we have the solace of knowing he died fighting for our cause.
Was she in the room before, the fresh air room? I like her design. Her coat reminds me a bit of Overhaul from My Hero. The green with the purple fur collar. Yeah, there's definitely something going on here. Victor and Jayce, they're both dealing with this guilt of getting someone unintentionally killed, you know? Oh, he's gonna read that she's like her love confession to him as well.
But watching how you work so tirelessly to make the world a better place, I couldn't forgive myself if I didn't try.
I do wish we had a bit more of Skye before we lost her like that. Is he gonna try and destroy it? I don't think that's gonna work though, is it? Yeah, it seems like it has some sentience. It's like fighting back almost. It has some control over him as well. It like affected his mind there.
Mel, would you like...
Yeah.
Leave.
Why are you meddling in the affairs of my country, essentially?
The man who killed your brother doesn't believe the score is settled, and his resources exceed ours.
Okay, so she does have like a bit of a reasoning. She wants it to protect Mel a bit because of what happened with Mel's brother.
I can't believe you'd start a war just to cover your ass.
I would set the world ablaze to protect our family.
I stopped being part of this family the moment you cast me out.
Yeah, that is true. She was cast aside.
Because you weakened me. I couldn't endure the look in your eyes whenever I made the necessary decisions to keep us safe.
Mo had too much of a conscience for her.
And you come home, take your place at my side.
That's a great shot. Look at that. Her just like imposing over her, and then all the background there was gorgeous as well. Oh, back here.
I don't know where you'd have preferred.
Oh, he collected her ashes. But that he still needs to use his walking stick and everything. Oh, this is just like how Jayce found him. How he found Jayce, yeah. About to jump.
You have to destroy it. I know. The Hexcore. I can't do it.
Yeah, you physically can't. Can it even be destroyed? What if it, creates another explosion?
In the pursuit of great, we fail to do good.
That's a great quote. You can sense this is coming.
But time's lapped you, old man.
You with him, are you?
You screwed up, Silco.
You put powder first,
Now I'm forced to share the air with parasites like you.
Today's the day you die, Silco.
I don't think it's going to be at their hands, though.
But I still believe in loyalty.
Oh, Sevika was still loyal. They said today is the day that Silco dies.
I would have had your son killed for this. Though I suppose we're ahead on that.
But I feel like if anyone's going to be the one to kill Silco, it should be Powder. A bit of a redemption, her taking the name of Powder again.
But he won't be the last.
Sevika definitely had me convinced though, because she had doubts with Vander before. It was a good, planting of that seed of doubt in my mind. The Talus insignia. I mean, come on, just look at that. Oh, he's going to see Jayce himself.
Free trade routes, blanket amnesty, unrestricted access to the Hexgate sovereignty. You really think you're in a position to demand all this?
I think he is.
Today I got a glimpse of what war between us might look like. Your people wouldn't stand a chance.
I don't know about that.
I'm trying to save you from annihilation.
With all of the shimmer that's about, I'm not sure.
You'll discontinue the production of shimmer.
Half there already.
Return the gemstone, and I need Jinx. She has to pay for what she's done.
Oh, is that the line he won't cross?
Get me Jinx, and I'll give you your nation of Zaun.
Is Silco actually going to consider it? Oh, hi Medinga. I was hoping we were going to see what Jinx is up to, but this is still good. Hi Medinga, seeing all of this. What Echo has built.
How were you able to accomplish so much so quickly?
Seeing the sense of community,
You have to give them what they need to live.
Yeah.
All we ever wanted. The boy didn't even haggle. Oh, it all makes sense now, brother.
Finally supervising with Vander a bit. Pouring one out for him.
Is there anything so undoing as a daughter?
Oh, Jinx was listening in. So she knows that Silco is going to give her up, maybe. That was Powder walking in, right? Oh, is it? It's Vi. Oh, it's the helmet of the guards.
Out.
she's seen Sevika in a while. Oh, she's got some shimmer though. The build up to the fights is always so good. And the use of like the music as well. They always choose great songs, it seems like. I love these gauntlets, like the effects on them and everything. Oh yeah, she's got her like lightsaber almost, isn't it? I wasn't expecting this. I didn't think she'd get so beat up.
Well, your guard needs work. What I can say is, she still needs you. They all do.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Bandit's still here, hyping her up, pushing her on.
That's my girl.
Kind of take for granted how strong Vi is. Never expect her to lose. With just one gauntlet. They're both kind of one-armed, you know, they've got one weapon in one arm. Ooh. Look at this with the colours. Oh, and she's using like a force field too. There must be something from the game, you know, like having a shield. Just ripped it right off. It looked like she was floating there for a second as well.
Silco.
Yeah, she still needs to push on forward. Like, she's real beat up now, but she still needs to fight Powder, you know.
Bravo, sis.
Wow. It seems like Sevika might still be okay though.
I'm not fit to govern the people who live there.
Oh.
They're right not to trust us.
You're walking a fine line, Jayce.
With respect, I don't give a shit what any of you think of me anymore. My days here are numbered, but I've come with Victor, my partner, and a Zaunite, with one final proposal.
A Zaunite, okay.
Jayce has brokered a peace with Silco.
I don't know why they'd be so against Zaun being independent, to be honest. Like, they completely neglect them anyway.
Really thought I buried this place.
Is this, Silco's old factory?
But he didn't make Jinx.
Is via Milo?
You did. You never left. I always heard you. Shadows in the streets.
Always in the back of her mind.
Pushing me. Picking me up. When all the colors were black.
It was only really in Vi's weakest moment that she said that.
The only thing that kept me going was the thought of getting back to you.
Are we still sisters?
Oh.
Right here, he stabbed Vander in the back.
Yeah, and she's got the fake Milo there as well.
All the time saying you abandoned me when he knew the truth. We're missing someone.
Caitlyn too. She's got a clagger as well, and the bunny from before. There's with Vander's gauntlets there as well. Has she killed Caitlyn?
I made her a snack. Sheesh, I'm not that crazy.
I was fully expecting it to be Caitlyn's head.
Where should I sit? That's your choice, really.
Oh, Powder or Jinx.
Send her on her way in. And you can have Powder back.
Does she mean send Caitlyn on her way or send Jinx on her way?
Her name is Jinx. She's lying. You'll be with her a day before she realizes you aren't that girl anymore. Independence, a seat at the table, all in return.
Oh, don't want Powder to see that. The gun's right in front of Silco now, but I think his hands are tied, so she's like acting all innocent. Oh, she's so quick. Is she like shimmer enhanced? Look at her eyes, how they're glowing. I love this, like seeing inside her head. Shall we go for a chair? We didn't see which chair. It better be Silco. It's got to be Silco. There's no way she would have killed Vi. Yeah. Yeah, she's still...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
She's still broken though. Even though I think she made the right choice, but she's still gonna regret it a bit.
I never would have given you to them. Not for anything.
Not even for Zaun.
You're perfect.
What now? Is that just gonna cement Jinx even further? Or is it she gonna revert back to powder? She's taking the seat of Jinx. Taking her throne, essentially.
Maybe you could love me like you used to, but you changed too.
Okay, Caitlyn's okay, she moved.
Here's to the new us.
I am the monster you created.
Oh, okay, that's the name of the episode, this song.
All my parts.
She's upgrading her Gatling gun.
I gotta kill the part of me that's soft.
Gotta kill the part of me that's soft.
I'll show them. We will show them all.
She attacking the council.
What could have been?
I support Councillor Talus's proposal for peace.
Oh, look at that. Oh, the music. Sevika's okay. She gonna take the throne then? Take Silco's place? Shula's agreeing as well. They're all... Oh, look at that. The red and the blue. And they're just kind of... It's like they're making the right choice, but they don't know what's coming.
What could have been?
Oh, the way the eyes like on the reflection. And it's just gonna end there on a cliffhanger essentially. Wow. Okay, so that's Arcane wrapped up. This show has just been spectacular from start to finish. Like every single second, every single frame, you can pause this show at any point in the series and that's your thumbnail for a video. Making these thumbnails for these videos has just been a joy. There's so many great moments, so many beautiful moments. You know, there's the phrase, every frame's a painting. That 100% applies here. So we kind of left off on a cliffhanger. As I said, I'm not really sure if that is leaving it open for a season 2 or if that is leaving it open for how the games kind of progress. But kind of as I expected, there were still some loose ends that haven't been tied up. We got a little bit of Heimerdinger and Echo here, but not a lot. We got some more on what happened with Victor and everything there with Skye as well. I do wish we had got a bit more of Skye before she died. That is one criticism I had. The show is definitely not a case where there aren't good female characters. There's loads of great female characters. Like the two main characters are female, so it's not like they're mistreating their female characters. But it does feel like with Skye, was she only there to really advance Victor's storyline? I mean, like, yeah, a bit. So you could accuse it of fridging, but like I don't find it that big of a problem. I just wish we'd got to know her a little bit better before that and she was like fleshed out a bit so her death could have a bit more meaning to us, the audience. So Mel, Jayce and Victor, they're all in this room that's hit by this rocket that Jinx sent out. Now, I don't think they would be killed off at this point. They've obviously left it off as a cliffhanger, but I feel like they're going to be injured. But there's no way they kill off Jayce, Mel, and Victor right now when they're like halfway through their arcs. I guess they're not halfway through their arcs. Like they've all had really great arcs, but it doesn't feel like there's enough closure for them to die here. You know, some characters you can kill off early like that and it works. Not every character has to have like this full closed loop cycle, like this full arc. Sometimes cutting it short can be very jarring and very effective to the audience. But I feel like they wouldn't do that with all three of them right now. But if they survive, which I assume they have, they're still going to be very injured. I think maybe if there's a season 2, there'll probably be a bit more of a time skip again, like a second time skip. It seems like Sevika took over from Silco's position, like she glanced at his throne essentially. Maybe Victor's relationship with this Hexcore causes him to survive, or he can use it to perform surgery and help fix Mel and Jayce. Maybe that's what will happen, because there still is a lot of mystery around this Hexcore. You know, when Skye got disintegrated and then we see the Hexcore, and when Victor was like about to attack the Hexcore, it like reacted, and there was a little bit of me that felt like maybe Skye's conscious somehow got into the Hexcore, because the Hexcore looks more organic now. So I was wondering if it absorbed some of her like organicness, could it have absorbed her consciousness? And like that makes for a really cool dynamic. Victor and like his girlfriend, who's like her soul's trapped in this Hexcore, that makes for a great dynamic, and that makes for like a cool design and just a cool concept for like a video game character if they were a playable character. But yeah, I really doubt that those three are dead. I feel like some of the other council members, like Shula and all of the rest, I can't really remember many of their names. You know, either way, as an audience, we don't have much of like a connection to those characters. So if those ones died in this explosion, yeah, it makes sense. And what are the consequences of this going to be? Because now all of the higher ups in this country are dead or they've been attacked. So now it's personal for them, and they might want to retaliate against Zaun. You know, they were just about to grant Zaun its freedom and its independence, and now that's been interrupted, and maybe that won't happen. But maybe also these other council members are out of the way, so Jayce can make this deal happen. But of course Silco is dead as well, so there's no one to make this deal with. Someone else has to come and take ownership of Zaun, take the throne essentially, and come up with a deal. And maybe this deal is no good for Sevika if she takes the role, or this deal is no good for Jinx if she takes the role of leader now. I have to say, I was very surprised in Sevika betraying Finn and not her betraying Silco. I wasn't expecting Silco to die in that scene, because I don't feel like Sevika is the one who should have killed Silco, but I was surprised that she sided with Silco. And I think it was really great because we'd seen before that she betrayed Vander, or she had distrust in Vander. So that kind of plants this seed where you think, okay, we already have this precedent of Sevika betraying the leader because she thinks they are no longer fit. So then you obviously assume that she's going to do the same with Silco here. And then this is just a great twist that no, she did actually still believe in Silco. That was a great moment. And you know, I do think that if Silco was going to die, it had to be Powder that did it, but it didn't happen in the way I was expecting. That's one thing this show does really well. It does what you expect, but it does it in a way you weren't expecting. Like, I was expecting Silco to die by the hands of Powder, but I thought it would be Powder regaining and taking her independence from him. But it was actually more of an accident. And then we see afterwards how much she regrets it. And then Silco's final words, they basically like cemented that Jinx was the persona that she would take up and not Powder. You know, I was always hopeful that she was going to revert back to Powder, but I always knew deep down that it was Jinx that she was going to be, because I'm like 99% sure that her character like in the game is called Jinx. So having her revert to Powder now, I guess, wouldn't align with like how the games work. And you know, in his final moments, Silco does confirm that he does genuinely care for Jinx, because when he first took her in, he was just taking advantage of this situation, seeing, oh, there's this girl I can groom and make her into a warrior or whatever. As they developed this relationship, he did actually really come to care for her. And there's always a doubt that I had, that it was like, does he actually care for her, or is it all just this act to groom her into becoming Jinx? But he did actually care for her, and that's like finally cemented when we see that he's not willing to give her up, or Zaun. Like, that's been his goal this entire time, to have independence, to have this nation of Zaun. And right when it's in his fingertips, he doesn't give it up because he cares about Jinx even more than he cares about the nation of Zaun. And Silco throughout this whole show has just been this incredible villain. We've seen how intimidating he is and how he isn't afraid to like get his hands dirty and do what's necessary to get things done, but he's also always had this conscience, especially when it comes to powder. So now that he's gone, I feel like Sevika will take the throne and also carry on with the Shimmer production. I think this show as well, it always has a great way of intertwining and like connecting all of our characters. You know, when we were first introduced to Silco, we didn't really know much about him, and then we find out he has this history with Vander, and then we have like Echo and Heimerdinger interacting now. And then what I found really great was the realization that the kid that Jayce had accidentally killed was the son of one of Silco's like underlings. I didn't quite catch her name. That's just another great moment, because we already knew that killing this kid would be the kind of precedent for war. You know, war is coming because this kid has been killed. But the kid being the son of this lady who is so high up in Zaun, that just makes it even worse, you know? Things just kind of tie up in a neat bow like that sometimes, which is really great. And then they can use that for building even more doubt in Silco and Silco's plans, you know? Everything that was happening with Finn and Sevika, when we thought that Sevika was going to betray Silco. And then when it comes to Jayce, of course he was going to feel guilt over accidentally killing this kid. But then what Vi said was really important and thoughtful, you know? This is him killing someone with his own hands accidentally, but his whole life as a counselor, he's been making action that has put people's life on the line in Zaun, but because it's never his hands directly, he doesn't really feel the guilt of that, because Zaun has been like so neglected. All of these like policies and things that neglect Zaun, they kill people. There's consequences for everything, and we know the people of Piltover, they've just completely shunned Zaun away essentially. That's why I was a bit surprised that some of the councillors were so against the independence. I guess, you know, having more land is like more power, but in reality they don't really care for anyone in Zaun. Like, Zaun being independent, I don't think that changes much for Piltover anyway, but I guess it does, you know, keep them in check, because they can have the enforcers go in and keep them in check. You kind of stop them from growing and developing, so then they can't uprise. Because now if Zaun is independent, Zaun could go to war with Piltover. An actual war instead of a civil war, I guess. Like, both wars, but there is a distinction there. I really love the parallels with Jayce and Victor this episode as well. You know, Victor, filled with grief after what happened with Sky, he was about to jump as well, just like how we saw in episode 2, I think it was, when Victor was the one who interrupted Jayce about to jump. You know, both these moments of weakness where they've realized their kind of life's work is a bit worthless, like they were about to lose their life's work. And Victor gave this great line. It was, "In the pursuit of greatness, we found to be good." Victor's original plan, Victor has always wanted what was best for the people of Zaun, but it was quite obvious early on that they were going to lose sight of that, and that they were building off this technology because they wanted to help everyone. But Zaun has just always been neglected by Piltover. Piltover, in their time skip, they grew to this grand scale, and none of that wealth trickled down to Zaun, because of course it doesn't. Trickle down doesn't really work. It all just gets hoarded supported by the higher ups. You know, we did see Zaun, it did develop a little bit under Silco, but that's mainly because of the shimmer. It's not because of anything that happened with the Hex tech. And that was all because of Silco. Like, you do have to give Silco some credit. He did do what was necessary and he did develop Zaun up a bit. Obviously, he was abusing Marcus and he wasn't doing everything legally, but he did actually develop Zaun a little bit and bring the quality of life up a bit. You know, he was giving everyone fresh air a bit more. So like, even though he was wrong, he did do some good. And I can see why people in Zaun would look up to Silco a bit as well. You know, Vander, he did everything kind of by the books, apart from maybe like the working with Grayson, and it was developing Zaun a bit, I think, but I feel like Silco kind of accelerated the growth, but did it through these kind of scummy means. And just like how Piltover kind of reaps all of the benefits and then Zaun is left behind, there's kind of the higher ups in Zaun who reaped all the benefits, and then all of the people who are addicted to the shimmer who are left behind as well, you know, because there's always someone who's exploited and someone who is left behind a bit. And then finally, let's talk about this finale. Let's talk about Vi and Powder. I thought this was great, this like table setting. I was expecting there to be a big fight here, but we didn't really get that. But that's not to say that the show had like fizzled out. You kind of expect there to be a grand final fight, but I always find there's this structure that I really enjoy where you have kind of a grander fight and then a more emotional conflict quite soon after. You know, example of that is like Captain America Civil War, where you have the airport fight, the big spectacle fight, but then when you have the Bucky, Iron Man and Steve fight, that one that's more emotional, I always enjoy that a lot more because of the emotional stakes. And then we had this big confrontation with all of this emotional stakes at this dinner table in Silco's like former factory, his former shimmer factory. I really love the setting, like this big dinner table and they're having this conversation. You know, dinner tables, that always seems to be where families argue, so that's really great thematically. I just realized that's really great actually. And I just love the kind of design of this table as well. You can just imagine like the concept artist going really great with that, like going wild with that. It's kind of like this gothic table with all of these intricate details on it. It was just a really great setting for this final confrontation. You know, Vi, she does blame herself for a lot of this, but I do think Vi isn't really to blame. Like, the only time she ever had doubt in Powder was that moment of weakness when she called her a Jinx and said, "This is all your fault." And like, she had just lost her dad and like her two brothers essentially, even though they're not like family related. So of course she's going to be angry in that situation and lash out. You can't blame Vi for what she did there, especially at her age when she was like, what, 15, 16? I don't think you can really say that any of that was Vi's fault, but she still feels a lot of the guilt and there's all of these consequences that came from that, and she does just blame herself and Powder blames her for it as well. We saw in the rest of the show, in the rest of Act 1, Vi was always protective of Powder, always supportive of Powder. She was just trying to protect her, and I think her trying to protect her, that's obviously why Powder got involved, because she didn't want to be left out. But Vi never really had any doubts of Powder. Vi always stood up for her until that one moment, and it was just that one moment that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And of course then Silco could swoop in and take advantage of that. When we see at this dinner table, Powder's essentially saying, where do you want me to sit? Do you want me to be Jinx, or do you want me to be Powder? And when she said you have to choose which one, I wasn't sure if she meant you have to kill off Jinx to get Powder back, or you have to kill Caitlyn, but I think she did mean kill Caitlyn. And there was a moment when she brought out that tray, I was fully expecting like Caitlyn's head to be under there, and I think everyone kind of expected that. The animators knew we expected that, because when she lifts it up there is like a brief flash of Caitlyn's face, but it was just like this little cupcake. It was the gem, and then Jinx has actually built a weapon that can utilize this Hextech gem, and we see it fired off at the Piltover site, and it was just a beautiful moment. The music combined with the visuals of it just flying by. There's this scene of the kind of beautiful red moon, and then the streak of the blue from the Hextech rocket, and then Caitlyn and Vi standing below it. That shot was just gorgeous. And then coupled with that music, and the music, the first line was "The Monster You Created," which is the name of the episode, right? And that's just like obviously thematic for everything that happened with Jinx. Yeah, this show has just constantly hit it out of the park. The animation is just phenomenal, of course. I've mentioned it so many times. And then the story as well matches that. I mean, that's what's really great here. In every aspect, this show is great. In the music, in the animation, in the acting, in the story, in the twists and the turns, just everything just created this great bundle. I'm very excited to see if they are going to do a season 2 or anything, or if there's more backstories from these like League of Legends characters that they can explore, because Vi and Jinx were like characters there. I think some of the other characters like Jayce was a character in the game here as well, but there might be even more backstories they can create and create these kind of anthologies of the backstories, different series for all of these characters. That would be really interesting. I do eventually want to do some gameplays and playthroughs of stuff on the channel, but I don't think I will for League. I know it's a bit of an online game, it's not really my type of game, but I do eventually want to do some playthroughs of games, some more like narrative based things, I think. But I don't know like how big the narrative actually is in the game. I feel like they have what are called the champions, right? So they're all the playable characters, and I think there is like some backstories for all of them, but I don't think the game isn't like very narrative focused, right? So I don't think playing the game would give you much more insight into these characters. I know there's some like animatics and things for some more backstory for some other characters as well, so I might watch those, I don't know. But yeah, this show has just been amazing. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this whole series. If you did, be sure to leave a like or a comment, leave your thoughts. I'd love to have more discussion about this. I've already discussed this for like half an hour now. This might be the longest discussion portion on a video that I've done. I'm not exactly sure, but I really hope you enjoyed this and the whole show, all of these videos. So thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe because Squid Game will be coming out soon if that's something you're interested in. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.